Coach is going to start with an opening statement before moving on to questions.
Yeah, my heart is out for Caleb Brown. Obviously, we had to make a decision where he could be on the court consistent, and he just has that little spot that's showing up in the X-ray that we got to be cautious for, and we didn't want to burn a year of inconsistency. He had a great summer, great fall. And the team will miss him. There's no doubt about it. His experience, when he played last season, when he played over 10 minutes, he was our highest graded defender. He did some things on the road, helped us win at Ole Miss. So he's going to be missed, but he's going to have a road of recovery that will allow him to still be involved, whether it's film, be involved with his teammates in preparation. Today he was involved on the court as it relates to just game planning, management, talking. So he's moving into a coaching role, so to speak, while also keeping abreast of his rehab, conditioning, and strength and conditioning, and everything that he has to do academically. So that's part of it. Obviously, it's time to regroup. Didn't perform how we wanted to perform last game. Hats off to our last opponent. Obviously, we got another tough South Carolina State team coming in. Unbelievable coach, comes from the West Virginia coaching tree. Coach Martin has done a great job in this program, and definitely can pose problems for us defensively and offensively with what they do in their style of play.
Great questions.
Dennis, how have you seen your team kind of, tackle flipping the page, when you have an emotional loss like that against Jackson State in the final seconds?
Yeah, one game doesn't define you. I think when you look at the big picture, you have pockets of experience that you can take things away from. And that last 2 minutes gives us a real live situation, whether NCAA tournament play, or even otherwise in this season. An opportunity to grow and learn. Whenever you go 1 for 4 from the free throw line in the last minute, 2 turnovers in the last minute, and obviously give up 3 field goals, you put yourself in a bad spot. And at that point, we didn't execute. I think last year we were able to go 8-0 in games decided by less than 1 or 2 possessions. And this time we didn't come up on that end of the game. So we regrouped. We watched the film. Our guys, trust me, they felt bad about it. But the thing is resetting your emotional capacity so you can move forward, because the game comes quick, it comes fast, and nobody's going to have anything sad to say to you, especially our opponents. So they're coming in here trying to expect to win, and we got to get back to the things that we normally do. We got to take care of the basketball, have a positive assist-to-turnover ratio.
Alex, not just the last 2 minutes, but after watching the film of that entire game, did you see things that you think are pretty easily fixable, or did you see things that concern you bigger picture?
Well, there were no concerns. It's just the big picture of there were pockets of runs that both teams made. We were able to get up. They started to get up. That game, although we ended up with 18, 19 assists, we should have ended up with 26, 27. But those turnovers, having 18 turnovers, it nullifies your offensive possessions analytically, because we were shooting a good percentage. Again, we didn't get to the free throw line, and ultimately we got to do a better job at drawing fouls, being stronger with the ball, not trying to make home run plays. But when we had those assists, and we had 18, 19 of them, we didn't hold on to the ball as much. So those are the fixable things that showed up in the film over the period of 40 minutes that I thought that we could have done more with. Again, having 20-plus assists in that game was an expectation, and that's the one thing that stands out.
After watching the film, what are also some of the other things you thought this team did well?
For us?
Yes.
I thought we did a tremendous job responding to their runs, responding to their aggression. We just wasn't able to close the game. We put ourselves in a situation to win. We didn't take care of a trap where Caleb Grill, I thought he should have held on to it to get a layup or get a free throw. I have to probably burn a timeout again in that situation, and I got to do better in that spot. In addition, the other thing that stands out is me possibly calling a timeout to set up a press instead of letting Adams just freely dribble up the court. It's just learning experiences that you put your team in those situations. but ultimately trying to figure out what's best for us moving forward.
When you talk about going to the free throw line, kind of getting more opportunities there, how do you coach that in practice?
Well, you coach it by just understanding those opportunities to drive, get in the lane, and finish. Are we passing up threes? Are we making the extra pass? Are we post feeding? Right? Kobe Brown gave us a post feeding threat. How many of those touches are we giving to Connor Vanover, giving to Noah Carter? Or is it Noah Carter just wanting to shoot three-pointers? Which one is it? But we have to put them in those situations. No different than Nick Honor, Sean East. When they've been able to get downhill, they've been able to kind of exploit the defense and get fouled and just play aggressive on their toes. So not playing on our heels, playing on our toes, but most importantly, taking care of the basketball.
Coach, on the defensive end of the floor, obviously Connor coming back and becoming available changes things a little bit, but what have you seen from some of the different lineup combinations on that end of the floor, and whether you go, Noah kind of as your big at the 5 versus bringing in someone like Jordan or Connor or someone a little bigger?
I thought the one person that played a great game was Jesus, ending up with 5 to 6 assists, 7 rebounds, and 4 or 5 points. I thought he did a tremendous job in a high turnover game, minimizing his mistakes from the previous games, learning from that, and being ready to play. Aiden Shaw got to be better. He had 2 turnovers, 1 block, 1 rebound in 10 minutes. That's not acceptable. The other part of it is trying to make sure these guys are getting the looks that they need offensively, but also defensively, making sure they're in the right spots. There is a big difference between 2 inches to the right and 2 inches to the left, right? You have to be in the right spots to cut off angles, and I don't think we did a great job. Jordan Butler did a tremendous job throughout that game, walling up and presenting size, but on the other side of it, knocking down 2 free throws, but before that, taking the dunk and spacing. Spacing is important. The other thing is blocking out. I think one of their best rebounders got an and one, but are we putting ourselves in a situation to block out wedge when we need to? It's just those things that can be fixed that I think we kind of put, ourselves in harm's way.
On that rebounding front, you'd said after the Memphis game that you didn't want a guard to be leading you in rebounds.
Yeah.
It's only 5 games, but Caleb and Noah are tied.
Absolutely.
Caleb and Grill are tied for the team lead in rebounds. Just is that something that you're becoming more okay with, or process-wise you still don't want to play out, or how do you kind of navigate that?
That's a great question. I still want Caleb Grill to try to lead us in rebounding, but the incentive is Aiden Shaw having rebounds per minute, Noah Carter having rebounds per minute, Jesus having rebounds per minute, Connor Vanover rebounds per minute. Jordan Butler, those guys got a rebound, but right now the most consistent one is Caleb Grill, and that's just how he's been playing. He and Ant Robinson has led us in defensive percentages, meaning grading out. They have just passed the award, our team award, from person to person, and somebody else got to step up in that area to provide what this team needs from a spark standpoint, but also the analytics of our defensive system.
I know you talked a lot about your depth. I think you played 13 guys the last couple games. Is that going forward? Do you want to keep doing that, or do you see yourself cutting that down at all?
It's a long season. I think ultimately you have to continue to prepare guys. You'll see different minutes fluctuate between guys, and I think that's rightfully so based off the matchup, but also how guys are playing. Zeus earned every minute he got last game, therefore his minutes went up. We had to make the adjustment. Vice versa. Some other guys' minutes may have gone down because other production was possible. I have to look to get Connor Vanover and John Tonje more minutes because I think their experience can really help us, and we'll end up doing that in these games to come. But more specifically, we're going to read the game how we need to read it. Our starters are our starters. We're going to continue to have guys continue to grow through this season because we got about 3-4 months left in that, and we want to be able to go as far as we can. We know one thing for sure: the game of basketball presents a lot of situations, a lot of curveballs. We did not anticipate having Caleb Brown out. We did not anticipate that. However, now next man up, we have to put him on a rehab so he can get back strong. He can come back this year, but I don't want the inconsistency of that to distract him. But also, he's been working too hard not to be able to have a 30-game season where he plays 30-plus games.
All right. final question in the back.
Coach, you talked before the year about wanting to schedule more difficult games. Obviously, 2 close losses early in the season. What kind of lessons can you learn from a couple heartbreaks in November to maybe learn from it in March and April?
Well, I think they prepare us each week. Ultimately, when you look at possession games that we played our last opponent, right, that's no different than, being able to learn in those situations. Think of the last 2 minute, the 2-minute drills. You can practice that all you want, but if you don't have those situations show up in games, you may not be prepared in conference or in March or in a conference tournament or in an NCAA tournament, right? You got to be able to put yourself in those situations. And again, we identify styles of play in our scheduling that can pose a problem, but also prepare us for our conference. Our conference has changed, and we're going to continue to get better as a league. Again, you look at the style of plays, it's every possible matrix of a style of play in our league. You look at the depth of a Tennessee or the depth of an Alabama. You look at Texas A&M. You look at Ole Miss. You look at every possible scenario that teams play, but also the coaches that lead these programs. We wanted to find that same thing throughout our non-conference, and I truly believe it's going to continue to make us better. It's going to continue to prepare us, especially when you have a team of our talent, but also of our depth, and also of my expectation of where I think this group can go.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. MIZ.